And I'm recording, and we have Mr. Rob Garcia in the house. Hey there, Rob.
How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good, man. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Pretty excited. Hey, man, and how's it going? And where are you now?
It's going great. I'm in Florida, in the United States. I'm equally as inquisitive as to how it's going for you in Peru.
This is great, man. This is great. I'm in Peru right now. It's 11 a.m. in the morning. It's sunny, spring starting, I guess. The start of the spring, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, Florida's always summer.
yeah. Hey, you know what? This is great because I'm actually going to be in Florida in January. I'm gonna be there for a month,
Really?
and yeah, I'm going to Miami. I'm staying in South Beach
It's there's a very when is it? When are you going?
in January.
January. Okay. I have family in Miami, but I'm actually a little bit up more. I'm like 3 hours.
Okay,
Florida's a huge state.
sure.
Uh, I'm just below Tampa
Okay.
in Florida. But you're gonna enjoy the hell out of it. I was just in Miami. It's fantastic.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it's pretty well known city. I hear there's a lot of Latino people, right?
A few,
Nuestra
a
gente, papi, ¿no?
few.
¿Cómo es? O sea
They
que tú
speak more
vives
Spanish there than they do English.
claro, sí. Yes.
Sí,
Entonces, if
pues
you
sí.
so, but I mean, everything is still in English and all, right?
Yeah, yeah. But there's a tremendous Cuban population. There's a
Uh,
huge Haitian population, and then everything else under the sun that's Latin.
sí.
Miami is a Latin city. It's just obvious.
Es lo mejor, ¿no? I was just in New York, and this past May, I was visiting my sister. Was my first time in New York. I spent a month there.
How
You
did you
know?
like it?
Oh, I loved it, man. I
That's where
loved
I
it.
was born, New
You
York.
you were born in New York. Wow. In the city.
Yeah, just
Oh,
outside of the city, in Staten Island, and then I
Staten
lived in the
Island.
city.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Where did you live?
in Staten Island, I was born in St. Vincent's Hospital in Port Richmond, and then I lived on 29th and Broadway for
Okay. 29th
about
Broadway
10
is
years.
in Manhattan, right?
Yeah,
For 10 years.
yeah, about 10 years. I had a different life back when I lived then. I was a
Ooh.
stockbroker. It
Ah,
feels like 1,000 years ago because I've been doing this for a very long time. But yeah, when I worked on in finance, I lived in the city for a while. Actually, I lived in the city and in Staten Island. I had both.
wow. Man, that's awesome. So, wow. Yeah, I feel you, man. I also had a job back in the day, like got nothing to do with this, you know?
Yeah,
So you were a
yeah.
stockbroker
It's this is my happy place where I am right now.
and you've been here for a while.
I've been in Florida for about 15 years.
Wow. Uh-huh.
Uh, I had been playing. So I did when you're a New York musician,
Yeah.
there's really very little money to be made in New York if you're a street
Ah,
level musician.
uh-huh.
The money is in bigger stuff. So I played in bars, but mostly in New Jersey.
Okay.
Uh, and there's a circuit in New Jersey of all bars and stuff, and that's where street level musicians such as myself could earn a living. So I did that for a while. I did the Jersey Shore for a very long time, and I started noticing that the people in the seats in front of me were not getting any older, and I was.
Mm,
And
okay.
then one day, one day, a young kid I was playing the song Hotel California,
Sure.
and a young kid said, my grandfather loves that song. After I tried to kill him, I
Uh,
said I said to myself, I better move to a place where the people are like me. So Florida has a slightly older population, and they like the kind of music that I like. It's mostly classic rock
mhm.
and country. There's a lot of country here, but it's a great
Yeah.
place. It's a great place. There's a lot of clubs. There's a lot of tiki bars. There's a lot of restaurants, and a regular old musician like me could
Uh-huh.
thrive here.
That's top information, dude. What is the name of your city?
Well, so I live in Port Charlotte, but
Port Charlotte,
between
yes.
yeah, so between Tampa, which by the way is
Uh-huh.
the
Tampa,
heavy metal
yeah.
hard rock capital of the world, the doom capital of the world, which is great.
Doom. Okay.
It's a heavy. It's like it's a
A
heavy
heavy
metal
metal
city.
genre, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's the hardcore heavy metal stuff.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
between Tampa and Naples on the west
Oh,
coast of Florida
okay. Heard Naples.
is
Uh-huh.
the land of milk and honey for a musician like me. At
Okay.
least I think so.
Okay, this is great, man. This is great. Port Charlotte. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, well, I actually have a lot of questions about it. I just want to set some context. Like I was saying, I went to New York. I brought my instruments. I bought all this stuff. I set up my studio. I
What
started
do you play?
playing. I play guitar. I play guitar, cumbia guitar. I play bass, but I actually ended up playing drums because
Wow.
that's what they needed me for, right?
I just bought a drum set. Very difficult instrument, no?
Yeah, to get started, yeah, but it's beautiful.
Coordination. It's all about coordination.
Do you play any kind of percussion?
Uh, I can program it.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a believer.
Uh-huh.
Even though I can represent myself on any instrument in the
Yeah.
studio,
Uh-huh.
I'm not as good as a real drummer or a real bass player. I'm a good guitar player. I'm a decent singer, and I can program. And I have all those programs, and they
Uh-huh.
sound great for demos. But if you're gonna do anything real, you need a human.
Oh, that's exactly what I'm saying. My last record, my last album, let me show you. This is on YouTube and all platforms and all. This is my channel, Lance Blunt. I'm gonna put this interview there, so I'm gonna send it later too. So
Yeah.
on in my last album, this is a cumbia album, psychedelic cumbia. This is a new
Oh
genre
wow.
of cumbia. Yeah, it's like mix of rock and roll. I grew up listening to rock and roll. I know a lot of guitar, heavy metal stuff like blues and all, but I grew up in South America, so I have a lot of Latin music influence too, like salsa, cumbia, and all of this. So in my latest album, I recorded all the guitars and all, and but I didn't have a percussion set, so I actually used percussion samples,
Right.
which
What'd you
are
think?
pretty good. I mean, they sound pretty good. I didn't program them. I could have, but I didn't. I just chose the samples. They sounded pretty good. But actually, when I love this album, really, I'm really proud of this record. This is like these songs I've written throughout my whole career with my different bands and all and different styles, and I like remade them, and I'm really proud of this record. Okay, but the thing is
I'm
that
gonna listen to it on my way to my gig tonight.
oh, great, I'll share
Make
it.
sure I have that link. I would love to listen to it.
Yes, I'll share it right now. I'll share it right now. And so then I was really proud and happy, but then after listening to it for a while, I realized that there was a thing about the percussion being just a robot that it was missing. So
Yeah.
then I said, okay, for my next album it's gonna be full psychedelia live, and I'm gonna play the percussion. I'm gonna record it all, right? But I didn't have them back then, so but for the next one I'm gonna do it live, and that's gonna be, you know.
How is the music scene in Peru?
It's small, but it's getting pretty big. Right now, there's a lot of artists. I live in Lima, which is the capital city. I mean,
Yeah.
music's always been big, but not in rock and roll and hip hop, and not like American genres. We listen to like cumbia and like
Really?
yeah, we have listened to salsa and people listen to music. We like to party and dance all night and
No,
all, but it's
Latinos. Nobody parties like a Latino. Nobody.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
tell you the truth, though. I was under the impression, and because we're Americans, we believe that we rule the world. But
Yeah, in a way.
I was under the impression that
Uh-huh.
there was rock and roll in Lima.
There is, but it's a very small. I mean, it used to be a very small circuit because it's more like for white people, and there's like in Lima, like we still have a lot of social conflicts and stuff. And back in the
Mm.
day, like when I was growing up, I was born in '88, so in the '90s, like nobody listened to rock and roll. There were a few bands, there are a few rock groups like Rock en Español, like Soda Stereo or Arena Hash. There's some rock en español stuff, but like most of the people listen to like local music like Wino or like like Latin pop and stuff. But the thing is that this little rock scene has been growing because we have been exposed, more and more through to rock and roll and hip hop and stuff. So it has been growing. So there are actually a lot of artists, but the audience is not that big, but it's still growing.
What about the classic stuff like not even American, English, like Led
Yeah,
Zeppelin and
like
all that stuff?
Zeppelin. People,
Is
yeah,
that all?
people know. But the thing is, when that was big, the records that came to Peru were just a few records, so not everyone could get them. So it wasn't big here when it was big in the States.
Gotcha.
But after the internet, people knew about rock and roll, so they started downloading. So the new generation after the 2000s, we know Led Zeppelin, The Police, Guns N'
That is
Roses,
amazing to me.
everything. No,
That
yeah,
is incredible to me because to not know it until that time
yeah.
is wow. It's so was it because the government wouldn't let it in? Is
No, I
that
mean, it was a different time. Sometimes it was because of that, but it was mostly because there was no like money and people weren't able to buy it. Just,
gotcha, gotcha.
yeah, some people could travel and bring it, but it was not going to be a good business to bring a whole lot of records and try to sell them here. Like no one was going to
Understood.
buy them. And the media was not as global, right? We only got certain, I mean, we could see them on TV, but it's not like now, like, right?
Yeah, well now YouTube broke
Yeah.
everything open.
Yeah, like now the game
Fantastic.
has changed so much, like everything is totally different now.
I would love to just see the unrolling of how all that is working because so your music scene from what you described
Mhm.
is nascent the way our music scene was maybe in the 50s like when rock and roll was formulating and not that many people knew it and it became magic. So
Yeah.
what's going on with you guys
Mm.
as you find out and you said it's getting bigger,
Yeah.
I'd be very curious to see how that
Yeah.
unwinds.
It's interesting. Like you see, there was a rock band from Peru from the 90s that was like the biggest rock band in Peru, but they wouldn't fill the stadium back then. And they broke up and now they're back
Wow.
together after like 20 or 15 years. And now they were able to fill the stadium like a soccer stadium right now. And it's a rock band. I think that's
Yeah,
the
but you guys
first
have
rock
huge
band.
stadiums too.
That's the
You guys
thing.
have
Yeah.
like 90,000, right?
Yeah, well, 50,000, 90,000. Well,
That's a lot of people.
when Roger Waters comes, and plays Pink Floyd, he can fill it up too. Like Paul McCartney's fill it up, you know?
Sure,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sure.
But
But
now, you know,
Roger Waters is one of the most iconic people in rock and
exactly,
roll.
exactly, yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of political issues too. I don't know if you heard about it with Roger Waters and like supporting some political ideologies. But well, so that's what I'm saying. Like rock and roll is growing a lot, like pretty fast. Like tell me about you, man. What about how's your music career? You said that you were working in first you're working in New York, right? I was working in New York too as a musician. I got to play, like I was saying, and now I'm going to do the same thing in Miami. But Miami looks more like a more fancy city. Like New York's more street, you can walk around, take the subway. Miami looks more like fancy. I don't know. Your mic's off, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I saw that my mic was off. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
So uh, Miami is going to be a great city for you because I believe that Miami's Latin culture begs for Latin music. And I think that the American non Latin people enjoy it as much. I think they go there for it. So you're going to have a great time. Uh,
Awesome. Uh-huh.
as far as what I do, I have been just a regular local musician playing playing cover music. I also play my own music sometimes. I
Mhm.
record my own music.
Okay.
Um, I don't think I'm going to buy a Learjet anytime soon, but I'm grateful that I can, survive
Hermano,
doing that.
mira, hermano, tú que yo que somos latinos, hay muchísima gente que tiene simplemente el sueño de vivir de la música, ¿no? Just to
Sí,
be able to.
para mí fue un sueño. y es un sueño todavía que no me he despertado, gracias a Dios. But, a lot of people will always say, oh, well, you're not doing anything big. Why didn't you do
Yeah,
anything big? Well, to me, and I have done what I would consider to be some big things, but I'll tell you the truth.
totally making it.
And the more I get older, the more I realize, I really wanted to be a musician my whole life. I wanted to be a rock star a
Yeah.
little bit
Uh-huh.
earlier,
Oh,
but
okay.
that rock star thing, I don't know,
Mm.
it doesn't appeal to me. Could be because I'm 150 years old now,
Uh,
but
how old are you now?
no, I was always in it for the music. I was never in it for the typical rock and roll reasons. So I'm grateful that I could play my music, and I'm also grateful to see that people appreciate it. So we are in a business that if we can't make people feel something, we're not going to last long.
Yeah. Yeah, man. There's layers, a lot of layers to it. A lot of layers to what you've said. The rock and roll dream, that thing. We know, I think all musicians go through that, and it's just that's been like we've been programmed to have that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's been put on us. So that actually
Some
confuses
guys
me.
did it. Like when I was playing in New Jersey, so I'm
Uh-huh.
61,
Okay.
and I could tell you that I was very close to the
Mhm.
circles of
I know, but
like
uh-huh.
like Bruce Springsteen, Bon Jovi. I
Right, right,
watched
right.
them. I
Uh-huh.
watched them propel them,
Perform.
and Cinderella. The first tour that I ever did was opening up for Cinderella.
Okay, okay.
The the amount of work
Yeah.
and the amount of sacrifice that I watched those people give up of
Yeah.
themselves
Mhm.
to become what they are is something that maybe I don't think I would have
Yeah.
wanted
To do, right?
so much. You really gotta you look, you really, really, really gotta want it to give up. Bon Jovi gave up everything
Yeah.
to get everything back, of course, later, but
And
big
it's still a
sacrifice.
risk. It's still a gamble. You never know. You can
Absolutely.
you can give 100% and still not make it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, you can give
So
110% and still not make it. But
yeah,
but
man.
even for those who make it, I want your audience to understand that to get there,
Mhm.
AC/DC wrote "It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll," and
Yeah, yes, sir.
that song, while it's very funny and tongue in
Uh,
cheek, is not far from the truth. It's a
no,
lot,
no.
a lot. Every musician goes through a crucible and a journey.
Yeah.
Every single one of us.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to it really because there's politics involved and but and like about you, I want to say that like sometimes, and I've seen this especially in Americans, like when you got a great life actually. Like if you compare with anyone in South America, like just dreaming
Agreed.
about doing music and being able to live off of music, and some
Agreed.
people,
Agreed.
some people don't even ever get in on a stage. Never in their lives
That
gonna
is
be on a stage, Just being on a
that is very
stage
true.
is a
And as
wonderful experience.
Americans, sometimes because we have so much,
Yeah,
we
they
take it
don't
for granted
appreciate
that,
it.
like, say, a
Yeah.
musician like you in Peru,
Hmm.
you probably have to travel or work three times as hard to get the gear that you want to use. It's hard. It's
I
a
have to
very
work in a
difficult.
I have to work in a different field. I need another job. This is just like my passion. I'm lucky that I can do this too, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
No.
yeah. It's a musician's life. Everybody sees the superficial. Nobody sees underneath. But it's a good life. It's
Yeah.
just not a
It's wonderful. The thing is when you expect something from it, like
bingo.
Latinos, and I love like Latino
Perfect.
people
But
are so yeah, yeah, because like we're so connected to the music, because I don't mean it in a racist way, but the Latinos are great dancers, great musicians. They just love music so much, they like to party. But like the difference is that like Americans wanna like make money off of it, be a star, like be there. You know what I'm
you're
saying?
right.
Like that's the different thing is being a star and loving music is two
Yeah,
different things, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
And those directions are completely different. The approaches are completely
Exactly.
different.
And I've been in both places because once in my career I was all about making it and putting myself out there and putting pictures and singing and all. And that just made my music be not that good. you know? And when I stopped thinking about that and just focus, okay, what do I do? I'm a guitar player. That's what I'm gonna do. People wanna hear me play guitar. They don't wanna be hear me sing or like do some other stuff, you know? So I just focused on want to make a guitar album, instrumental, and it was just great, and everybody liked it, you know, and it's just it because of the music, not because I was trying to be famous, you know?
Right. Uh,
Yeah.
I will say that the struggle, the results of the struggle make it worth it.
Right. Right. Totally.
It
Yeah.
is a struggle, and whether
Yeah.
you get paid for it or not, the the what comes out of you makes it worth it. But if you can capitalize on it, that's a much better
Yeah.
situation for the person that's doing it.
Yeah.
And secondly, people don't understand the connection factor, which
Yeah.
uh, some people are incredibly lucky, like Paul McCartney and John Lennon. They wrote a song or many songs many
Uh-huh.
times, and they connected with
Uh-huh.
millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people every single time. To give you a contrast, when I came to Florida, I decided that my world was going to be, let's just say, uh, I never thought of it this way, but I said a radius of let's just say 25 miles. And I said to myself, you know what? I could be Paul McCartney within
Mhm.
25 miles.
I love that.
And I'm gonna let the people know, and they're all gonna come to my gigs. But and concentrating on a smaller area is much better for a musician at street level. But I
Right.
could tell you that I have been playing the same places over and over again for
Uh-huh.
15 years,
Mhm.
and it's very difficult to see the same faces over and over and over again. My
Uh,
point being
uh-huh.
that a musician often thinks, I'm going to write this song and I'm going to connect. Well, no,
Yeah.
you're not. You're not, because you have no context. And as hard as it is to connect with a million people, you first have to connect with
With one.
10.
Yeah.
Right. With one. With one. That's right.
Um,
And that is a slog every single day for the average musician. You got to collect
yeah.
people, emails, telephones, staying. I mean, a musician is no longer a musician anymore. We are media
Managers
people.
and all. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's a broad topic because sometimes I think there's really nothing you can do about it. Like when
can't.
I think for me, if I stress about if I'm out there, I'm just not gonna enjoy making music. So I say I'm gonna just make music. If people like it, that's it. If they don't like it, yeah, but I'm not gonna be like, hey, listen to my song, listen. I'm just, you know, but it's different. If you're looking for a live show, yeah, you gotta be out there. Like I want to play live, you know. And that's what I'm gonna do after people listen to my album. I'm gonna like put a band on and like try to go play live, you know.
I
But
miss
if
playing with the band. I play often by myself with just a
uh,
guitar and my
right,
voice
but you do live shows, right? And but do you do Paul
every
McCartney
night.
tributes? You do Paul McCartney tribute? No,
I do Beatles songs. No,
Beatles.
I do a little bit of everybody. I have too
Okay,
many.
okay,
I have been in tribute bands
okay.
uh, in the past. I did an Elton John tribute with a phenomenally gifted keyboard player
Hmm.
that toured for a little while just before COVID, and before
That's
that,
great. Yeah,
I was in a Woodstock tribute
yeah.
for the whatever that was, 2017,
Uh-huh.
the 50th anniversary of Woodstock, and we traveled. We did theaters in
Uh-huh.
Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee,
Uh-huh.
Colorado. I don't
Man,
remember. It was a big tour. It was
living the
like
dream.
6 months.
That's living the dream, man. Yeah. What else you
That
need?
was that was the highest I've gotten. Those types of things, and that
Yeah.
was living the dream. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a fantastic time. And
Right.
COVID took it away from me, but I'm still happy doing little stuff here.
Right, right. Okay, so you've had the experience in bands, you've been in tribute bands. That means you've been hired to play with this band, right? So this is like
Yes,
work and you also got your solo project where you're like thinking more, you're not gonna get hired, you're like trying to connect with people and like get an audience of your own, right? So it's two different scenarios.
yes,
Hmm.
Way different scenarios.
Way
So
different.
with
Yeah.
the tours,
Mm.
they had a company that invested millions of dollars into advertising.
Right, right.
And it was
Wow.
much easier to sell out
That's what I'm
1,500 to
saying.
15,000
Yeah.
with $1 million in newspaper ads
Hmm.
than it is with, hey, everybody, look at me. I'm playing down the street.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on the tour, it was the company. By myself, it's me going, hey, everybody, look at me. I'm playing down the street.
Well, you can get creative and start interviewing people and stuff like the kids do, right? But if at the end of the day you gotta have to do something you don't like, then why do it, right? You know?
I do nothing that I don't like anymore.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
that is the ultimate blessing of being a musician at my age. You learn
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and you develop a routine and a stable of places that will keep you alive and keep you happy. And after that, it becomes your own little world. I worked
Yeah.
really hard for this little world. So, if it doesn't change between now and the time that I, close my eyes forever, I'll be very happy.
Amen, dude. I mean, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it, man. That's great. So, I mean, yeah, you work hard to set it up. You say right now you work hard to set, I mean, but are you
Years and
active right
years and
now?
years and years.
Yeah.
Say again?
Are you active right now? Like you're still playing like every weekend,
I play every night. That's
every
how I
night?
make my living. I play
Right.
almost every night. Yeah.
Right, right, right.
So Florida has seasons. Uh, so right now we are in between seasons, so I'm not playing every night.
Mm.
But from February to about a month ago, I was playing every day, uh, sometimes twice a day
Just
on
just
Sundays,
on your own,
Wednesdays,
just by yourself as a solo artist.
just by myself. Yeah. And I'm not the only one that does this, by the way. In Florida, there are tons of people that do what I do.
Hmm.
So I don't want you to think that I'm special because I have all this work and I'm bragging. I'm no different than any of my counterparts, my colleagues in Florida.
Right.
There are a lot
Well,
of guys
yeah, yeah, yeah.
just
They're
like
all
me, and they're
great.
all very talented.
Hey, I tell you what, if you know some of them, we could do like a group session and we can have, I also do group sessions, really. I invite some
What a
musicians.
great idea.
Yeah. And we just talk about the scene and their experiences and all, have, chill out for a while, you know?
I'm going to try to put that together and with
That,
a bunch of, I'll tell you, you'll also get a comedy show out of it. So it'll be a
hey,
lot of fun.
I love that, man. I love that. I love this. Dude, I've been trying to figure out like how to like put on some like online activities, get musicians to connect. I'm gonna be in Florida in January. I got no problem traveling 3 hours up north, to see the music scene. I'm also a
I can
rock
meet you
musician.
halfway. I can meet you halfway. I'd love
Yeah,
to meet you.
sure,
So
man. Yeah.
we'll exchange information and yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and I'll
We're
tell you
doing
what,
this.
if you have a little bit of time to come by and I mean the Miami is a thing, and I think you know what it is. It's like that what we spoke about that Latin
Yeah.
kind of. It's a very social vibe too. But if you
Yeah.
come to where I live
Uh-huh.
on the west coast of Florida, it's a different vibe.
I get it. Uh-huh.
Definitely more Americanized for
Yeah.
sure. Definitely
Yeah.
more classic rock, but very old Florida. It's not like so when people think of Florida, they think of Miami, they think of Fort Lauderdale, they think of Tampa and
Roma.
Orlando.
Okay, okay,
Where
yeah.
I play
Uh-huh.
is it's palm trees, it's beach, it's people in flip flops and shorts and tank tops and very relaxed. Everybody's usually on vacation,
Uh-huh.
but there are some locals that come by, and it's a completely different thing. The Miami thing is a higher energy thing.
Yeah,
This is a more laid back vibe.
yeah. Oh, well,
So it's that type of thing. But yeah, I would love to meet you
let's
when
do it,
you're
man.
here,
Let's
and
do
I
it.
and I
Yeah.
will impress upon you to contact me so we can meet up. That'd be great.
That'll be great, man. I'm gonna be staying there for 1 month. So, yeah, about what you said, it's really interesting because I don't like I'm Latino, right? I'm from Peru, but I feel like I
Of
like
course.
the American vibe because like people are more a little bit more like they step back a little bit, so they give you like more space and it's more like chill, like the Latino people are like really loud and we're like all, I like that too. I can go to a party and be loud and be like friends with everyone and all, but sometimes you want to like get like some time for yourself. You're not so loud all the time, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes I also feel like I can blend in with the Americans too. I spent some time in California and Texas. I went to Miami just
How'd
once
you
when I
like
was a kid.
California?
I liked it a lot, actually. Yeah. I went to San
I love
Francisco, Berkeley.
California.
Yeah. Well, I was in LA just for
I
a
didn't go
couple
to
of
San
days.
Francisco.
Okay.
Did you go to LA or no?
Just for a couple of days, just for a couple of days, just as a tourist. I didn't spend like a whole lot of time there. But, because it's
So they
different,
say that the
if I,
stereotype is if you're from New York, you
uh,
hate LA.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I am from New York and I
Uh,
loved the living. Can I curse on this?
yeah, yeah,
I loved the living shit out of LA
yeah.
when I visited it.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And I've been there many times. I've played there very little, but the talent. So I, all right, I haven't been to LA in a long time. I went to LA right at the very end of the hard rock that Poison, Motley
Yeah,
Crue.
yeah,
That at the
yeah.
very end of that
Glam scene.
glam, right, right.
Uh-huh.
I was there, and I was caught up in it like a fly in a
Oh,
spider
yeah.
web.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I loved it, and the musicians out there were incredible.
Ooh, yeah.
Coming from New York, everybody always says if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. And I'm
Uh-huh.
not going to say that there's no talent in New York. There's a
Uh-huh.
ton
Yeah.
of phenomenal talent in New
Yeah.
York,
Yeah.
but it's not all like that. In LA, it
Yeah, right.
seemed like there were more talented people at their gig doing a gig. And in New
Yeah.
York, it felt like there were people that didn't know what they were doing in some clubs and they were just trying shit out.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's too much music in New York. Too much, right?
There's too much everything in New York. It's a city of excess.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I don't really remember that much LA, but it's not I mean, the thing about New York, I think is you can like walk everywhere and be on the streets and it like you're in the streets and it actually feels like doesn't feel like being in the streets, kind of like you get like a home feeling, I guess, and you can like I don't know, I could meet people in the street, I could set a party in the streets, you see people like in the streets, right? I don't in LA you don't see that. I mean, you got to drive everywhere, it's not
Yeah.
like right?
Well, I'm really happy to hear you say that because a lot of people say that New Yorkers are not nice people.
Yeah, but
And
I know why that is. I live in a city too, in Lima. It's a big city, and you can get people like not be nice, but it's not like they're not nice. It's because they're like always like heading somewhere, and they're always like
yeah,
on to something, so
exactly.
they're not very open. But actually, they're very friendly. Like people are very friendly because maybe they don't have a lot of friends. So if in a friendly setting,
Absolutely.
they'd open up.
Absolutely. I will tell you what about New York, and everybody knows this, but I want people to remember it. New York always had that bad,
Hmm. Like stigma.
attitude kind of reputation.
Yeah.
But after 9/11, there
Mm.
was not a person in New York that wouldn't give you the
Yeah.
shirt off of their back
Yeah.
to help you.
Yeah, yeah. Something like that gotta happen, right? Too. You
Yeah,
see the
well,
real people in times of trouble too, right?
yeah, New York really came together after 9/11. It was very touching.
Yeah.
Um, we just had a hurricane here where people are coming together. I was not affected by it, but a lot of places were. I
Uh-huh.
lost a couple of places here due to the hurricane, but you know what? People are resilient. They'll rebuild.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. But
Yeah. Where was the hurricane?
uh, what was the name of the hurricane? Hold on one second. Hey,
There's
hon,
uh-huh.
Helene, I think it was Helene.
Okay.
Helene was the last hurricane, right? Yeah, Helene.
I hear there's a lot of hurricane activity in Florida, yes?
Yeah, all
Eh,
the time. But some are worse than others. So uh,
yeah. Yeah.
we didn't get affected this time by Helene, but 2 years
Uh-huh.
ago I got wiped out by Ian.
No way, really? What do you mean, like wiped out like your house? No?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We, my girlfriend and I bought a house here in Florida a year
Okay.
ago.
Mhm.
But when Ian was happening, we were shopping for a house, and
Wow.
I was
Oh,
renting a place
uh-huh.
so that I could be on the ground here. And when Ian happened, the place that I rented was very close to the beach, and you know, at noon there was an inch of water. At 12:30 there was a foot of water,
Oh,
and by 5 o'clock there was like 2 feet of water in the house. I was just moving, mixing boards and guitars and stuff,
oh
and putting them up
no.
as high as I possibly could. I lost some
Yeah.
gear. I didn't. I actually, you know what? I said I got wiped out. I didn't get wiped out.
Well,
I didn't
but
get wiped out, but it was.
well, we'll have
It,
that in Peru.
I lost stuff, and it was scary.
Yeah, I get it. I've never had my house be like under 2 inches of water, 2 feet of water. Never, man. And then I've lived by the beach too.
Two
I'm
feet.
lucky with 2 feet. Yeah,
Two
well, 2 feet,
feet.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's like,
Crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man. And especially like in the States, like you don't have this kind of situation. But I don't know. Well, in Miami you do, right? In Florida you do, right?
Florida, we do. Actually, the worst affected by this particular hurricane because it came in at an angle, so it was supposed to form in Cuba and go straight up. It
Okay.
would have hit the United States,
Mm,
on the west coast of Florida. But what happened was it formed in Mexico, so now it came in at a 90-degree angle,
mm.
and it gained, uh, momentum. And the worst place that got hit was North Carolina. Asheville, North Carolina looks like Gaza. No,
Oh, after Ian, this is Ian, right?
no, no. Now, Helene.
Ah,
Ian was
Helene.
Florida. Ian
Okay,
Ian
okay.
was Florida. Florida got destroyed, but Helene
Oh,
kind of
Helene hit North Carolina. Oh, I'm
it
seeing that.
started in Florida. It hit here
Uh-huh.
too. It took out a lot of
Right.
stuff here. It
Uh-huh.
took out a lot of stuff in Georgia, South Carolina, but North Carolina was the place that
Mm.
got super flooded and super hurt.
Wow. And that doesn't normally happen there, right?
Rarely,
Oh,
rarely. It would
what's
have to be an Atlantic
yeah.
hurricane from the
Right,
Atlantic
right.
making a turn on the Atlantic side of Florida. This is a Gulf of Mexico hurricane. So
Wow.
it went through the top of Florida into Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and that's when it kind of lost strength.
Okay. Okay, okay. Wow. Oof. Wasn't really
Crazy.
aware of this. Yeah, I wasn't aware of this. This is like
Well, you guys
late.
have earthquakes and stuff in Peru, no?
We do, yeah, pretty much like weekly we have a little tremor or some yeah.
That's
Like
hilarious.
yeah,
Pretty
like
much
really.
weekly. You
I
sound like
don't
a
even
person in
react.
LA. You sound like a person in LA. That's the one thing that when I was in LA scared
Uh-huh.
the living hell out of me was an
Yeah.
earthquake.
Dude, I don't even react now because we have them so much. Once we had a big one, like in 2007, couple cities were actually destroyed and all, like south of my city. And I
Uh-huh.
remember I was in school and I was used to the earthquake, so I didn't even react. I was like, yeah, whatever. But then it started getting stronger and it didn't stop. And I was like, okay, so this is not what I'm used to. And then I got scared and I went out to the field and I was in school at the university and some of my teachers were crying and all and people was desperate. Man. But
Oh,
normally
that's
we have like
scary.
little shakes. Yeah, that was a big one. That was the 2007 earthquake in
In
Peru.
LA, I was at a in a showroom, and the only time I ever felt an earthquake, because they have little ones and you don't feel them, but
Hmm.
they'll tell you that you just experienced a tremor. There was I was in, I think, do you know who the company Roland is? Roland.
Roland the keyboards?
Yeah, and Boss pedals
Mhm.
and stuff. So
Okay.
I was at
Mhm.
Roland in Los Angeles.
Okay, in the store?
Well, with their headquarters. I used to work for
Oh. You used to
before
work
I
for
was a
Roland?
musician. I worked at no, I used to work for Sam Ash and Manny's on
Ah,
48th Street. So they were really big retail outlets for
right,
musical
right.
equipment. Neither
Okay.
one of them are around anymore, but they were very,
Okay.
very popular. Manny's was where Jimi Hendrix bought a lot of his stuff when he came to the United States. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Really?
I was
Okay.
in Roland,
Uh-huh.
and I felt everything shake. The windows were shaking. Like you could see it. You could see the columns were shaking. And I was like, "Hey man, should we get out of here?" And they were like, "Oh no, this is nothing."
It just happens every day.
And it happens every day. Yeah, that's to me that's scary. Like now, I got 9/11 under my belt. I got two hurricanes under my belt. I feel like I could
A
basically walk
pandemic.
inside a volcano, no problem.
Let's go to Costa Rica, man. Let's get inside of those volcanoes. Yeah.
Man, I would love to go to Costa. A friend of mine from Honduras that
Mhm.
spends a lot of time in Costa Rica.
Yeah. I work for a company, for a Costa
The
Rican
living
company, and
shit out of that place.
oof. But yeah,
Yeah, Costa Rica.
these people are used to living like near the volcano. They watch it like, like be active. I have some students from
Yeah,
Costa Rica
I think
too.
I would not want to live near a volcano.
And they have national parks and the hot springs too. They have hot springs,
You have volcanoes in Peru, no?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah, but not
You
active,
have
not active.
volcanoes, and you also have the Andes, right? The mountains, the
We
mountain
have
range.
the we Yes, we have the Andes. This is the biggest volcano in Peru, but it's not active. You never see it like burst. We have Machu Picchu.
Okay.
Machu Picchu
Machu
is like,
Picchu, of course,
yeah,
of course.
this is wonderful.
And
Yeah.
you have the Andes. I read a book
Mhm.
called Alive. It was
Okay.
about
Oh, no, no,
a
no.
soccer team that
You're
crashed in the
Uruguayan.
Andes.
That's a
Huh?
Uruguayan. I think
Oh,
it's a
that's right.
rugby
That's right.
team. hmm
That's right. Yeah. It was a long time ago. It was in the 70s.
Yes, yes, yes. This is actually a pretty famous story. Uruguay football team, or it was a rugby team, I think. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, only
Vive.
like so. I I think there were 12 survivors or six.
Esto fue, no?
Uh,
This was it, right? And they had to eat. They were eating each other. Okay. Rob, can you
yeah,
hear me? Can you hear me, Rob?
save the dead people.
Can you hear me, Rob?
Yes.
You hear me? I'm gonna stop recording because I have another guest in the waiting room. You can still be here, but I'm gonna let him in. But I'm gonna stop recording, so I have two blocks.
That's
Okay?
okay.
Okay.